This is Rabbi Son, hot takes on news, pop culture, and religion, hosted by Rabbi Patrick and my son, Javon. Spiritual, irreverent, always fearless, produced by Darshan Yeshiva. And Javon, how are you doing today?
Fine.
Fine. All right, so we talked in the earlier episode, and by the way, if you like these shorter form episodes, let us know. If you don't like them, let us know. Comment, like, share, subscribe. Tell us. We need to know because we're flying blind here. Let us know. Do you like the shorter ones? Do you like the longer ones? Do you want different topics? Do you like the topics? Let us know. Post in comments, share with people. Let's get some action going here. So we were talking about ages, and we talked about at what point is a person an adult, and Judaism has some stuff about that, et cetera, et cetera. What was it about that made you go, whoa, 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 we need to record on this one?
No, because I feel like there's a conversation to be had, like, in the public. I mean, it's already been had, but, like, I think there needs to be, especially in America, what is the actual age of an adult? Like, we need that stamped out clear.
Okay, so thinking about your young adulthood, you're 19 now, you're going to be 20 pretty soon. What do you think is an adult?
I think an adult should be 18.
You think an adult should be 18? Okay. So why do you think that?
Because, I mean, so right now, obviously, live in America. But, those who don't know.
Right.
Separate ages that you're allowed to do or have certain things. Like at age 18, you're considered an adult. Like, you can make your own medical decisions, you can make your own financial decisions, you can sign contracts, you can go gamble, like everything you could possibly imagine, except, drink alcohol, smoke, 25 to rent a car, which is weird. Like, I just think that's weird.
Is that the law that it's 25 to rent a car, or is that like just an industry practice?
I don't know.
I've always wondered that. Yeah, I don't want to speak about Maybe if there's anyone who works like a car rental place or something like that, you can let us know. Why is it 25? I'd like to know the answer to that.
Yeah. But no, I think there needs to be a 18, you can go up there and get married. Like, I think there needs to be just one age, gone and done.
Okay.
Because there's literally, like, there's nothing justifying, like, having, you can do all that stuff at this age, but then, like, you can't do some stuff, but you can do that stuff once you come up, like, 3 years after 18. Then it's like, until you can rent a car, like, then you're, like, at that age, but at that point, you're almost 30.
Right.
Like, prices are too expensive, to be waiting until you're 25 to be able to do things.
Like, okay. So why 18 and not 17 or 19?
I would say 18, it's like, a boom, perfect age. It's like, stepping out of teen, like, your last year as a teen.
It's not your last year as a teen.
Second to last year as a teen. But, stepping out.
Okay.
And considering like 18 like a big age where you can do all those, things that are already named.
Okay.
Like,
right. If you can already do some of it, why not all of it?
Exactly.
I see. Yeah, I kind of like the idea of 19. And the only reason why I like the idea of 19 is if the theory is that you will be done with high school by 18, then maybe we as a country have some sort of like gap year, like a socially understood time period between high school and 19, or like the start of college or whatever, where you can do a year of national service, you can join AmeriCorps, you can go work a job, you can, whatever. But there's this 1 year break from like the idea of compulsory education, which technically ends at 16 in the United States. I'm pretty sure that, like, isn't that the deal that basically you can quit high school at 16 and the law can't go after you?
Is it?
For some reason, it used to be that way. When I was growing up, that's the way it was. Is that you could, like, but see, this is another one of these weird things, because it was like at 16, you could drop out of high school. But then I think there were truancy laws.
No, because at 16, you can,
You can emancipate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then you're like considered your own.
You're your own parent.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like.
Right. Yeah. So we didn't. Yeah. That's a whole other layer to this. Right. It's like you can make yourself your own parent, legally. Right. Okay. Yeah. So I would love to see something where you finish high school, something happens for like 6 months, 9 months, a year, and then you're moved into like whatever that next social thing is. You stay in AmeriCorps or the Army or whatever thing, or you keep working a job, or you start college or something like that. But I kind of don't like how you are in your, first 90 days of being a senior in high school. And it's like, what about college? What about college? Because they start that on you when you're 14, right? And like, that means that high school really doesn't mean much. It's really just about keeping your grade point average up until you can then get into college. Well, no, maybe like you should focus on being in high school. And then when high school is done, you apply to go to college. Like it's a distinct, separate time. And you're going to have to goof off for like 9 months or like whatever that time period is. Well, and so you make 19 the age that you go in. And then you know what? At 19, fine. You can drink alcohol, you can buy cigarettes, you can get a mortgage, like whatever, because now you are in an adult life. You can sign your own contract for a dorm or an apartment or whatever.
Well, that's not going to happen. They want us to run the rat race, early.
Who is the they that wants us to run
the government?
The government?
They want us to run that rat race.
The man. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, the man wants us to run that rat race.
Okay.
To fill up them jobs that the old people is, getting ready to retire.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
No offense to people who are retirement age.
Yeah, you retire, do your thing. You ran the rat race. Time for you to relax. But like, no, like, you to be young is not something to be coveted.
Okay.
In the the world.
Right.
Like, young is 30 in the world.
How do you mean young is 30 in the world?
Like, just okay. Because young people aren't taken seriously.
Okay.
Like, you understand what I'm saying? Okay. Like, unless they present themselves in a serious manner, unless you go right to college, unless like you do like these things that people see as older, like prestigious, like you're
people
doing
bad. Like, people will take you seriously if you take what you do seriously. So like if you're
but if you're being young seriously, they're like, oh, you're just a screwball, goofball who is out here like, while everybody else is working.
That's why I like the idea of like making 19 the age of maturity. Is that fine? You're a kid until you're 18 and you're out of high school, blah blah blah.
No,
and
but
you
still,
do something
and then
19
sour old person that's gonna be like, at 19, I was working, I was paying bills.
Well, like, sure, my great grandmother was married at 15, but that doesn't mean anything today.
Insane. But yeah, no, like to be young, I'm not gonna say old people hate young people, but it's like,
can we just say older as opposed to old? Can we like maybe like soften that a little bit? Older people, because like I was talking
You're considering yourself old. I'm saying
well, so here's why I say that. So I went to go visit, my mom today. And like, she's 84. She lives in a retirement community with other people who are over 84. And she was saying to me,
her business on the internet.
Like, we should have her on the podcast, Rabbi and Son and Grandmother. I think that'd be awesome. She'd probably love it. She could tell crazy stories from the 1960s, but she was saying like, you have to understand I'm old. And I'm like, well, Mom, I'm 42. Like, I'm not a kid. And then she just kind of looked at me like, are you crazy? Like, and I'm like thinking to myself, I'm like, no, like I'm an adult, like I'm grown. I have a mortgage. I have a kid. Like I'm married. I have a job.
Yeah.
Like I don't. Yeah. So I'm just saying when you say old, like, you get to talk about age in terms of like age of maturity. I get to push back and like claim it for the older people. That's all I'm saying. Older
Thank you.
People.
Thank like, you. It is just like, think young people are screwing off, or that like, they're lazy because they don't want to run the rat race, like
Okay.
hot and fresh, like once they graduate at high school,
Yeah.
and and then if you do drop out of college, then like you're seen like, oh, you're like this big failure because you didn't do something that I did,
Right.
that like
right.
I did it, so you should be able to do it. But like some people,
Yeah.
no, that's a tiring process, and like because I feel like I've been in school for so long, and
Yeah, you have.
and it's like as
you
soon as I got out of high school,
Yeah,
it
K
was
through
just
12
like,
is a long time. That's 13 years.
no, but like
Yeah.
as soon as I got out of high school, I was already taking college classes, and it just
Right.
felt like
Right.
I was just like in the school, and then like school this time around, it just felt so like hollow.
Yeah.
Like because like it's like, is this really it? Is this like
Yeah.
that is like it's gonna be me? Like I have to do like I haven't had a break to like live,
Right.
to breathe,
To figure out what your thing is.
yeah. So
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah.
old people, they love to talk about like what young people are doing, but it's like not everybody wants to run the rat race.
Yeah.
Sometimes people want to live a little bit
Right.
before they go do that thing,
Right.
and that should not be hated on.
I agree.
It's like I feel like old people are envious. Like
Older
people are envious of.
I don't envy you one bit, just to let you know.
see, you just said. I said. You see, you are old. I was saying the older crowd.
So older than me.
Exactly.
Oh,
see, how
I
you gonna
see.
differentiate words? Then when I use the differentiating factor, you're gonna be like, ah.
Well, I don't know how old is this group that is like hating on you that I don't know
boomers.
about. Boomers. Okay. Gotcha.
Boomers.
Okay,
Boomers
so 60+-year-old.
Exactly.
Okay.
Like,
got it. Okay.
So yeah, like they're envious of we have choices.
Mm.
Like we're not gonna want run the rat race. We aren't gonna settle for this and this that you settle for.
But that's the funny thing is that if you look at every generation, like if you look at Mom's generation, when they were hippies in the 60s, they said those same exact things. Like that they weren't going to be part of the system and the man and blah blah blah. Or like you look at like my siblings' age group, they were punk rocker types. Like I mean, not my sister kind of was, but
and then about being punk rocker types, or
like we didn't want to run the rat race either. I'm just saying like it's not a unique. Like every generation when it's in its teens and 20s thinks that like everyone before just basically put on a suit and tie after graduation.
No, I don't think they put on a suit and tie after graduation, because yes, there were some of those people, but I'm saying the people that are speaking in large numbers is that crowd.
They do have the boom on us, right? They do have the population.
Exactly.
Boom. Yeah,
so
that's
like
fair. That's fair.
Yeah, of course. Like baby boomers. What they were like. The Great Depression children.
No, the baby boomers
were after that.
Were after that. So what's called the silent generation or the greatest generation. Those were like Mom's age. Okay, so that's like Joe Biden's age, and then after that comes like my siblings, which is the sort of baby boomers. But they're like that's a weird time too, because like they're boomers, but they're also on the younger side of boomer, and then there's Gen X, and Gen X is the 50s-ish year old crowds right now, and then I'm right on that millennial Gen X border by like a couple of years.
Yeah, but it's just like it's not about having that like rebellion. It's really like things. And I'm saying like this is the Gen Z thing, because obviously not, but like millennial thing of like changing how we do things in society.
Okay.
Right? Like people are pushing to work less,
right.
Days,
4-day work weeks.
Yeah, in the office, or like people are like, oh yeah, we can work from home now. Like have more flexibility in your schedule. Like, and then some people don't like that.
Right.
And then like, oh yeah, you're lazy. I did this. I worked this many weeks.
Right.
And it's like, no, sometimes we're going to be young for a little bit.
Right.
We're going to be old for like the rest of our lives. So it's like, it's just like, let me breathe. Let me be foolish. Like, let me, be whatever until like it's time.
Yeah. I mean, this is why, I'm not a fan personally of like mandatory national service or a draft or something like that. But I do think it's a really good idea. Israel does it, a lot of other countries do, where you have something that is a differentiator between kid K through 12, or like I think in Canada, don't they have like a grade 13 or something like that?
Do they?
I feel like it's either, yeah, I forget who has like a year 13, but like maybe they don't have kindergarten and it's all semantics. I don't know. But like you have that and it's government instituted, you have to go, it's whatever. And then there's this gap period. And then it's like, okay, you were an adult before then, technically. But like now we socially just think of it as like, now you kind of need to have your act together a little bit. And like that in between time of like military, AmeriCorps volunteering. But like, I think that for your age group, and I think this was true of mine, we are the two generations that were just told college, college. If you don't go to college, you're going to be a ditch digger. And I even remember, because I went to college early, I had a 2-year degree, and my dad, of blessed memory, was just like, if you don't finish up and get a 4-year degree, like it is just like that is a huge problem. And I wanted to say, Dad, like you graduated high school because you went to night school when you were 24. Like, can't we like say that like there's been some improvement generationally here? But I would have never said that to my dad. That would have not been cool. But
but you would have been in the right. No, I'm just saying.
I mean, from a generational standpoint, you want your kids to do better than you did.
Exactly.
And my parents didn't go to college, and I did.
Yeah, you can say like you want to do better, but you can also acknowledge that let me not come from a place where I'm trying to lecture when I didn't have my stuff right. And it's like yeah, you can want better, but you also don't want like to put this pressure on that like I get like that fear of they're gonna, like my kid's gonna be just like me, and you don't want that to happen. But then at the end, like people have their own paths, and like sometimes putting pressure on is gonna be like, okay, so now you're on my nerves, and like that angsty teenager, like now you want me to do this, now you're in my face, so now I'm not gonna do it. And now we're gonna see. then you're gonna get mad, and it's gonna be like, like you can't keep pushing, because then you're gonna get that push back. If an angsty teenager, like you said, is in that place where they're budding into like having more responsibility, and they feel as though they have more responsibility. You keep pushing, it's gonna like that eventual, it's gonna meet in the middle, and then it's gonna be like, combustion.
Well, it's why I've said before, and I think I've said it on the podcast, that the two requirements of being a Jewish parent are, broadly speaking, that you have to give your child a trade and you have to get them to the chuppah, which basically is just a way of saying like make them an independent adult who is emotionally mature enough that they could even get married. Right? Like if you take the literalism out of it and you just say like the goal is to do that, to make them financially independent and to be emotionally mature, right? That's all Jewish parenting really is. It's those two things. And we've said this for you, which is just like all we've ever cared about is momentum. And I'm lucky because Stephanie's parents were like that too. They were very college, like whatever, but so was she. So like that made sense. And she was going to do one program and then she quit. And like, what did, your grandmother say to her, which was, well, hey, if you don't want to do it, like that's the wrong program for you, but go find something else. Like you can't just completely bottom out.
Yeah, no, some people are like, they don't give that option or they don't think about that option. And it's like, no, you're going to do this. Like I said, you're gonna do this.
Well,
and like I'm gonna push you towards this, and then it's like is that like that breaking point of like you're doing all this pushing and you're not actually helping anything. So now I'm just not gonna do it, and then we're gonna have to part ways.
Right. I mean, and that's like with me. It was I went to college early, had a 2-year degree by the time I was 18. But I like after that, I couldn't figure out what that guy was going to do. And I was lucky because my parents owned a business and they were totally cool and like really supported me working there. But like, it wasn't just a screw off job. Like, I actually had true responsibility. And like, if I messed up, like, I was staying late that night to like get things done. And it just happened that like I was good at my job. And then by the time I reached like, 20, so basically 2 years later, it was like, okay, no, like you gotta like figure out what you're doing here. Like you gotta like, and that was me saying that to myself mostly. It was like, get a like get a business degree, because that's like, you want to learn how to do those things. You'll either do it at a nonprofit, you'll start a business, something, but like have those skills so that then you can be taken seriously in the environment that you want to be in. And like, I didn't know I was going to become a rabbi. That didn't happen until like many, many, many years later. So, but thank God I had a 4-year degree, because that's the minimum to then go to rabbinical school. So it all kind of worked out. But like, they always treated it like, what's the momentum? What's the next thing? Okay, it's not going to be college. Okay, well then you're going to work. Okay, the job didn't work out. You better apply for college. Okay, blah 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 blah.
Yeah. So no, I just feel like
we do the same to you, I think.
I mean, yeah, exactly the same thing. No, but I think when it comes to like the older generation, I do feel like the older. You heard the ER.
You said it right. Older.
Generation just thinks that like we're lazy and like we feel entitled to things. But it's like at the end of the day, our time. You may be paying us for our time, but like still we still have things we want to do, things to accomplish. Like it isn't just about a check. It is just not about. I don't feel like I'm just speaking like in general. I'm generalizing it, but I'm just like young millennials and Gen Z. The older Gen Z people are like, no, we want to have lives. We want to have experiences. We just don't want to be, at work, go home, eat, sleep. Right. At work, go home, eat, sleep, and like we actually want to have like lives and healthy social lives, and not just we'll see you at the next dinner party, and not actually have like those connections with people, right. Or be able to like actually go and explore places while also having a job, and like being able to have like a healthy social life, and also be productive at work. Right. Like you don't always have to be at work. Right. Like, and I don't think you constantly day in, day out doing the same thing, like that makes you any better. Like doesn't make you like any flexible. That's like doesn't make your mind. Yeah. Like, sometimes you need the time, take off, refresh. And then you come with their fresh new ideas, ready to go, ready to get at it. If like you're wearing people down. Yeah. And then like, I just think that, we younger people have seen that, sometimes workplace policy is not best for workers. And, we've seen with those, policies, how they affect people. And we're like, no. Yeah. Like, we don't want to do that. We don't want to be the same, the same screw in this rusty machine, just keeping it going. How about we build a new machine? Well, that works.
I want to do a topic sometime that's talking about like work and the nature of time, because that would be a really good one. So closing thoughts.
Closing thoughts. I mean, like I said, 18 should be flat age. I don't believe in this, all this extra stuff. And like going on to what we were talking about in the last episode about, 25 being the like, how your brain fully develops. Honestly, I just think I'm not gonna say it's a lie. But in my opinion, it's a lie. This
in my opinion, yes. You have alternate facts, as they say.
Alternate facts being alternate in my personal reality that I decide to create in my world. This is for entertainment purposes only. I'm not coming, here, I am coming over here with like, factual reports. Right. Sometimes. But
most of the time it's just what you think.
Yeah. Well, I'm not. But no, I don't think 25. I do feel like life experience governs how you maneuver yourself in life. Yes. And that you can say the brain is fully developed, like it grows, but like as per mindset, I do feel like some people who have had, adverse, childhoods, and like have seen the world for like, truly what it is. Truly what it is. They have a different mindset, and I'll include myself in that group.
Yeah.
Have a different mindset about how the world works. They know how the world works, and they, not that no one fully understands the world because people are complex,
right?
But you can understand right from wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Before that, I feel like 25 right and wrong, that leaves a lot to be excused.
Sure,
especially when it comes to crimes and behaviors,
right?
And then the excuse of, well, my brain isn't fully developed,
right?
I think that's a stretch, because by the time you're 18, you should know better.
Yeah,
you should know right from wrong.
Okay,
you should know it. Right from wrong. Right and wrong is situation.
They used to think it was 13. That's all I'm saying. They used to think it was 13.
I mean, yeah, because people died before they ever hit 16, so of course they think it's 13. A lot. Yeah, people were having 13 babies because only 4 were going to survive. But still, we're in a new age. New age.
You're like a new age that says 18 is everything, but not so new age that it's 25.
Exactly, 25. This is way too ridiculous. At that point, I'm 30. You might as well just go ahead and ban everything at that point, and I'm not responsible for anything.
I think that's what a lot of people want, is to not be responsible for anything. So.
I mean, because who wants responsibility?
All right, cool. Well, thank you everyone for watching. Appreciate you. And hey, just as a little note here, your product could be here, right here on this mug. So. If you've got a business, a service, a product, whatever, we're open to sponsorships. We really appreciate your help. Thanks a lot. Thank you to our sponsors at Darshan Yeshiva for making this content possible. Darshan Yeshiva provides beginner-level online Jewish learning, including the very popular Conversion to Judaism program, with sponsoring rabbis and students all over the world. Start your Jewish journey any place, anywhere, and anytime with our conservative, reform, reconstructionist, Jewish renewal, humanistic, and post-denominational rabbi mentors. Become the Jew you always wanted to be with Darshan Yeshiva.